Hello friends, I hope you all are doing great. I, C.A. Pujan Kapadia, welcome you all on my today's lecture of the subject Mercantile Law. Friends, during the last lecture, we had started with a new topic under the Indian Contract Act 1872. The name of the topic was Classification of Contract. We also saw a broader classification of contract on various different perspectives. First was on the basis of validity, under which we have basically covered three important types of contracts. The first was void contract, second was voidable contract, and third was illegal contract. Now, today we are going to cover all the remaining part in the today's lecture. So, without wasting any of the kind, what I like to do is I'll just take a quick view on the three different types of contracts that we have already covered, post which we are going to start with the today's topic. First thing that we have studied was void agreement, in which I explained you any agreement which is not at all enforceable by law is known as void agreement. For example, when I'm entering into an agreement with a minor, it is void ab initio. See, you can see over here. Void ab initio means at the very moment I'm entering into an agreement, it is not at all valid. It is totally null. It is totally void. So, void agreement is something which is void ab initio. Against which we have studied void contract. What is void contract basically? Initially, when an agreement is being entered into, it was legal and enforceable. But due to certain reasons, like I have given you the example of, I was entering into a contract with Mr. X to purchase his horse in December 2020. But due to certain reasons, his horse passed away in October 2020 itself. Now, as a result of which, it became impossible to perform the contract. So, this agreement, which was legal initially, has now become void because of impossibility of the performance. Such agreements are known as void contract. In short, what I want to know is, there is no contract in the void agreement, but there is initially a contract in void contract, but subsequently it becomes void. The key to remember this section was Gujarat GJ. 2G was void agreement and 2J is void contract. Moving ahead, we have taken the topic of voidable contract. I have told you and given you the example that I was not willing to sell my house property, but Mr. X comes to me with a revolver putting on my head that if I am not giving my consent, he is going to shoot me. As a result of which, he has obtained my confirmation with force, with coercion. Now, in this particular case, the contract is open on my side. That if I want to continue with the contract, then the contract is going to become valid. But if I want that I don't want to continue with this particular contract, I can cancel, repudiate the contract. Then the contract will become void. In short, when a contract is enforceable by law at the option of one or other parties, but not at the option of other parties, it is known as voidable contract. Moving ahead, we have taken due care of what is illegal contract. The important words over here were, it is against a law which is time being in force in India. So I'm doing something which is against the law or which is criminal in nature. For example, agreement to commit murder. Such agreements, this kind of illegal agreements, are void in nature. And we had a statement, all illegal agreements are void, but all void agreements may not be illegal. Then we have studied regarding the collateral transactions. I have told you, if my principal transaction is illegal, all the collateral transactions to that principal transaction are also going to be illegal. But in this particular slide, I have explained that if my principal transaction is void, but it is not illegal, then my collateral transaction may be valid. So this is what we have covered up till now in our previous lecture, post which you have given your test your knowledge series, which I hope you might all have got the answers correctly. So now, moving ahead with the next topic. What is the heading? Unenforceable contract. Now let's understand what is the meaning written here. The contract which is valid in all the respect but lacks some technical requirements is termed as unenforceable contract. This means my contract is valid from all the perspective, but there are certain technical aspects which are necessary to be fulfilled and they are not being fulfilled, then such contract is known as unenforceable contracts. Now the question arises, what are such technical requirements? I have written certain examination. I have not done registration of the contract, or I have not done proper stamping. For example, to enter into a certain contract, there is a necessity and there should be some amount of stamp that is supposed to be paid. If I am not doing certain stamping, then again my contract will be termed as an unenforceable by contract. Next is lack of signature. What I have done is I have drafted a proper contract, but the signature of the parties are missing. In short, what I want to say is all the essentials of valid contract that we have discussed in section 10 are being met. So it is valid in all the perspective, but there are certain formalities, certain technical requirements which are missing. So what I've written over here in the last point is the contract becomes enforceable in future if the technical defects are cured. For example, signature was missing. What I'm doing is I'm getting it signed by the appropriate parties. So now the contract is free from the technical defects. So I can enforce the contract. In short, what I need to understand in this particular topic of unenforceable contract is the contract is valid in all the perspectives, but there are certain formalities, there are certain technical requirements which are being missed out, as a result of which I cannot enforce the contract as of now. Once all the technical defects are being removed, it is free from all the technical defects, I can easily enforce the particular contract. So this is about unenforceable contract. Moving ahead to the next part, see, this is nothing, this is just a repetition, but since it is given in this particular unit, so I'm repeating this particular slide, which you have already covered in the last to last lecture. What is a valid contract? All agreements which are enforceable at law is a valid contract. It is simple, fine. That is any agreement which is enforceable by law, that is being implemented, which has a power to create legal rights and legal obligations, are considered to be the valid contract. Where this technicalities or legalities being mentioned under section 10, all the agreements are contract if there exists. There should be a free consent. Now you are well aware like what is free consent. Your assent should not be obtained by force. It should not be obtained by coercion. It should not be influenced under undue influence of dominant power, supreme power. It should not be by fraud. It should not be by misrepresentation. If your consent is free from everything, it is known as free consent. Second is parties are supposed to be competent enough. That is, the party should be major, that is 18 or above. They should be of sound mind. They should not be lunatic. They should not be insolvent. They should not be drunkard. Next is there should be a lawful consideration. There should be a lawful object. It should not be expressly declared as void. It should fulfill all the legal formalities of any other law which is in force in India. In short, what I want to say as of now is this is nothing. This is just a repetition of what we have already covered in the last to last slide. But what I want to cover over here is it is a type which is as per validity. So the last contract is valid contract, which is actually enforceable by law. So under validity, we have covered 5 basic types of contract. The first that I have explained was void, which is not at all enforceable by law. Second that we have covered was voidable, which is enforceable by law, but at the option of one or more parties, but not at the option of other parties. Third that we have covered was illegal contract. All the illegal contracts are against the law or criminal in nature, so they all are also void. Fourth that I have covered is unenforceable. That is, contract is valid from all the perspective, but it is lacking certain technical formalities. Once it is free from technical defects, it can be enforceable by law. Last is valid contract, which is getting a clean sheet, which is legally enforceable. I hope I am clear with the classification of contract from the viewpoint of validity. Let's move ahead. The second was on the basis of formation, that how a contract is formed, under which we are going to study 3 different types. First of which is express contract. When the offer, I hope you are well aware, like section 2 clause A, what is offer? When one person is showing his willingness. Our example was, I am going to start a startup, and what I am going and approaching the venture capitalist. Sir, please come and invest in my company. So what I was doing, I was giving him offer. So I hope you are clear with what is offer and what is acceptance. When the offer enumerates express terms, what is express that we are going to deal below? What the offer enumerates express terms and it is accepted subject to all the terms, then such a contract becomes the express contract. What is express? It has been mentioned in the section 9. A contract is said to be expressed when it is entered into by words spoken or written. So important point to be expressed is it should be either in a spoken words or in a written words. That is, you should say it expressly. It should not be like that I have just understood and I have entered into a contract. No, it should be mentioned expressly, rather orally, or it should be mentioned written manner, but it is necessary that you should express the terms of the agreement or the contract. As a result of which it is said, when you are offering, what I can say in my example is, I would go to venture capitalist and I will say, sir, I am going to start a startup. So I request you, I propose you to invest rupees 1 crore in my startup. So what I'm doing is, I am expressly stating I'm expressly stating the proposal that if you are going to invest 1 crore rupees in my startup, I am going to give you 30% of the ownership. Now, what the venture capitalist is saying me at the time of acceptance, I am ready to invest rupees 1 crore in your company and I am ready to take 30% share of your company. Now, this is nothing. These are the express terms. That is something which is said or something which is written. So basically what is express, which is apparent, which is being said or which is being written is known as express. It has been mentioned under section 9. Now, this is not a part of your answer, but this is just from the practical viewpoint. Express contract is always advisable in order to avoid any kind of doubts. For example, I want venture capitalist to invest 1 crore and give him 30% of the share. Now, just imagine, I have not told him anything. I have just told him, sir, invest 1 crore rupees. Now, what he will say is, sir, आपने तो ऐसा बोला था कि आप 1 crore invest करोगे तो आप मुझे 50% shareholding देंगे. Actually, what was the understanding? 30%. But if I have not stated it expressly, I have not told him or I have not written it, then how can I prove that it was 30% and not 50%? Are you getting me? As a result of which, it is always advisable that you should enter into an express contract. I hope I'm clear like what is express. Fine. Let's move to the next part. Implied contract. An implied contract is the one which is not expressly agreed upon. मतलब जो express का opposite होगा वो क्या होगा? Implied. So the implied contract is the one which is not expressly agreed upon between the parties, but is inferred from. अगर मैं कहता भी नहीं हूं, अगर मैं लिखता भी नहीं हूं, तो फिर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में कैसे एंटर करेंगे? सो इट इज इन्फर्ड फ्रॉम 3 इंपॉर्टेंट एक्ट्स. फर्स्ट इज act or conduct of the parties. Due to actions or due to the conduct of the parties, the contract comes into existence. Second is course of dealings between the parties. Both the parties are dealing in such a manner that automatically the contract is coming into existence. And third is surrounding situations. Let's take an example one by one to give you more clarity about what is this. I have given you the example of act or conduct below over here. Example read as, Mr. X takes a public bus. It is implied by his action that he wants to use the bus facility to commute, that is to travel from his source destination to a destination that he wants to reach. In short, what Mr. X is doing, he is stepping in to the public bus. Now, when a common man is going to step into the public bus, of course, when he wants to reach from one place to another. So it is implied by his action. It is implied by his act or by his conduct that he wants to use the bus to commute, that is to travel from one place to another. This is nothing. This is the implied contract. Second is course of dealings between parties. For example, I am a trader of laptops. Fine. Mr. X is my regular customer. He always orders like, sir, एक laptop देना, दो laptops भेजना, etc. One day he is calling me, sir, मुझे तीन भेज देना. Fine. I is not specifying what three, but if he is calling me and saying, sir, send me 3 pieces. Now, what is implied by our course of dealing is, I am always dealing, I am trading in laptops. So he has would been asking for laptops only. As a result of which I can say, by the course of dealings between me and Mr. X, it was clear, though he has not mentioned the product, but he was asking for laptop itself. So we have entered into an implied contract of selling 3 pieces of laptop. I hope you are getting me, friends, right? And third is surrounding situations. As of now, we are into the time of COVID. Fine. So all people are asking for PP kits. So what I'm doing is I'm calling a supplier of our own country, Atmanirbhar Bharat, so our own manufacturer of India. What I'm doing is, sir, please send me 100 kits. Now I have used, sir, please send me 100 kits. But as per current situation, it is being implied what I'm asking for. I'm asking for PPE kits. As a result of which, this is implied for the surrounding situation. So friends, in crux, what I want to say is, I am not orally expressing, nor I am expressing in written format, but either by the way of my action or my conduct, or by the course of the dealings between the parties, or by the surrounding situations, we are entering into a contract. Such contracts are known as implied contract. I'm just giving you a moment. Take a quick view on this particular slide. Well, friends, I hope you are clear with this particular point. So on the basis of formation, we have studied two types of contract till now. First was express, that is being openly written or openly said. Second is implied, which is not openly expressed, but due to any of these three reasons, we can say we are entering into a contract. Now let's look into the third one, quasi-contract. We may be hearing this word for the first time, as a result of which it automatically becomes important for your examinations. So let's focus. What is quasi-contract? The contract that rests on the ground of equity, that a person shall not be allowed to enrich himself unjustly at the expense of another, is termed as quasi-contract. What they are trying to say over here is, I am following the ground of equity. I am being just. I am following moral values. Fine. This is nothing. This is a ground of equity. What they are telling, I have written in words in a bold. A person shall not be allowed to enrich himself. That is, I should not make benefit for myself unjustly. That is, in a wrong manner, at the expense of someone else. मतलब किसी का नुकसान करके मैं मेरा फायदा नहीं कर सकता हूँ. If any contract is based on this particular ground of equity, then such contracts are said to be quasi-contract. Technically speaking, it is not actually a contract. Fine. So if I strictly follow all the terms and conditions of contract, this is not considered as a contract technically, because it is intentionally entered into by the parties. I am just entering into a contract on the grounds of equity, on the grounds of justice. As a result of which I can say quasi-contract is a type of contract which is not technically or strictly can be classified as a contract. इसलिए इसका नाम क्या है? Quasi. Quasi is somewhere in between. Fine. It is not perfectly the contract. Now let's take an example so that you can get a clear idea. Like what I want to explain you is, if Mr. A finds the goods of Mr. B, it is Mr. A's duty to restore them to B. If A uses the goods considering as his own, he will be bound to pay for them. Let's take an example. If you are coming to the classroom, I am the person who is teaching you. Now by mistake, you have forgotten your mobile on my table. You are going to your own place after the lectures are over. What I am doing is, I have an option that I could have written your mobile to you the next day or on the same day. But what I am doing, I am telling, छोड़ अब इसको क्या बताना है, and I am taking that mobile and I am using it for my own purpose. Now this is something which is not the grounds of equity or justice. I am doing something wrong. What I am doing is, मैं आपका loss कर रहा हूँ और मेरा फायदा कर रहा हूँ. But what the principle says, I am not allowed to enrich myself unjustly at the expense of another. As a result of which, there is an implied contract. Fine. There is a quasi-contract between us that I am in a position to return your mobile when you meet me or on the next day, because I cannot use this particular mobile. If I'm using this mobile and like after a week you come to know that sir ने तो ये मेरा mobile use कर रहा था और sir ने बोला ये तो गुम गया था, then you have the right that you can claim the prices and damages for the same. In short, what I want to say is, this contract is not strictly classified as a contract. It is somewhere in the way between. As a result of which, इसका नाम क्या है? Quasi-contract. It is basically based on the principle or a ground of equity that no one should enrich themselves unjustly at the expense of another. I hope I am clear with this. Yes, friends. So let's move ahead. Now let's move to the last category, that is the types of contract on the basis of performance, under which we are going to study two. One is executed contract and second is executory contract. Let's first check out what is executed contract. First of all, I have written the meaning of the word. What is executed? It means that which is already done. मतलब मैं कुछ already कर चुका हूँ. Then it is known as executed. Now let's read the meaning. The contract where both the parties have performed their obligations under the contract is termed as executed contract. If two parties are entering into a contract and both have done what they were supposed to do, both have performed their obligations, then such contract is known as executed contract. Let's see the example. If Mr. A agrees to sell his car to Mr. B for rupees 10,000. Now, if A has transferred the ownership to B, A को क्या करना था? गाड़ी की ownership B को देनी थी. तो A is transferring the ownership to B, and B had paid rupees 10,000 to A. What B was supposed to do? He was supposed to pay the consideration of rupees 10,000 to B. What he has done? He has already paid the same. Both the parties over here, that is Mr. A and Mr. B, they have completed their obligations. They have performed their obligation. as a result of which this contract is said to be an executed one. I hope you are clear. So if the obligations are being performed by both the parties from both the end, then such contract is said to be executed contract. I hope I am clear with this. Fine. Now let's move to the second part. What is executory contract? The meaning of the word executory means that which is yet to be done. What was executed? That is already done. What is executory? That is yet to be done. Now, the contract where either one party, which is unilateral, or both the parties, that is bilateral, are yet to perform their obligations under the contract. Means they have not performed yet. They are yet to perform their obligations. Then such contracts are known as executory contract. Now let's take an example. We are going to continue with the same example. If A agrees to sell his car to B for rupees 10,000. Now, if A has not transferred the ownership to B, what A was supposed to do? Transfer the ownership to B. But A has not transferred yet. He is yet to transfer. And B had not paid rupees 10,000 to A. What B was supposed to do? To pay the consideration of rupees 10,000. But B has also not paid yet. He is yet to do the particular thing. In short, the obligations are yet to be performed from both the end, and it is known as bilateral executory contract. Means दोनों साइड से execute करना बाकी है. So it is known as bilateral executory contract. Let's convert this example into another form. Let's assume that A has already transferred the ownership to B. Means A has performed his duty. The contract is executed from the viewpoint of A. But still, B has not paid rupees 10,000 to A. So one party has performed its obligation, but another party is yet to perform its obligation. As a result of which it is known as unilateral executory contract. In short, on the basis of performance, we can classify the contract into two types. One is executed contract and second is executory contract. Executed means both the parties to the contract have already performed their obligations. उनको जो भी कुछ करना था, they have already performed the same. And it is known as executed contract. What is executory contract? When either of the parties or both the parties, that is either one party is yet to perform, that is unilateral executory contract, or both the parties are yet to perform, that is bilateral executory contract. They have not actually performed their obligations, what they were supposed to perform. And such contracts are known as executory contracts. So I would just like you to take you back on our very first slide that we have started, classification of contract. Fine. We have covered the entire topics. First was on the basis of validity. First is void. Void means it is not enforceable by law. Second was voidable. That is, it is enforceable by law, but at the option of one or more parties, but not at the option of other parties. Third was illegal, which is something that is against the law, which is in force in India, or which is criminal, like murder. Fine. Next is unenforceable. It means contract is valid from all the perspective, but it is lacking certain technical formalities, like signature baki hai, and such contract is known as unenforceable. And last is valid contract. It is all the conditions of section 10 are being fulfilled, then a contract is enforceable by law, and it is known as valid contract. This was on the basis of validity. Second, we have covered on the basis of formation. First is express. If I am entering into an agreement which is having all the terms either expressed orally or in a written format, then the contract is said to be express contract. Second is implied contract. I am not mentioning any terms of the contract in an express manner, but what I am doing, I am getting to know it by the way of action or the conduct of the parties, or by the way of terms between the parties, or by the situation, circumstances, and it is known as implied contract. And the third one is quasi contract. It is not technically or strictly a type of contract, but it comes into force because of the principle of equity or justice, which basically means no one should enrich themselves at the cost of another. I have given you the example. अगर मुझे आपका मोबाइल मिल जाता है, then I am under the responsibility, I am under the obligation to return the mobile to the person of whom it belongs. I cannot take its undue benefit at the loss of the another person. Such contracts are known as quasi contracts. And the last that we studied was on the basis of performance. Executed, that is already being done. Executory, which means it is yet to done. I hope students, you are totally clear with each and every points we have covered in this particular unit. It is very likely that a short question can definitely come for any of the type of contract. in which you need to write the meaning or the definition along with the example in your examination. So now at the end of today's lecture, it's the time to test your knowledge. Again, I'm going to ask you 5 MCQs. You need to choose the correct answer and note it along with you. After the end of all the MCQs, we are going to discuss the correct answers. I hope you are ready for the same and your time starts now. Well, friends, I hope you are ready with your answers. So let's check the correct ones. Question number 1. Which of the following is not the type of contract from the viewpoint of formation? We know from the viewpoint of formation, there were 3 classification: express, implied, and quasi. So the one executed, that is option C, is the correct answer because it is on the basis of performance. So right answer is option C, executed contract. Question number 2. Which of the following is not actually the contract in strict sense? Correct answer is option D, that is quasi contract, under which we studied that strictly speaking or technically speaking, it is not a contract. It basically comes out from the principle of equity and justice. So correct answer is option D, quasi contract. Question 3. The contract which is valid but lacks some technical requirements. It is valid from all the aspects, but it is lacking certain technical requirements like signature baki hai, stamping kam hai, etc. And such contracts are known as option C, unenforceable contract. Correct answer is option C. Question number 4. The contract that comes into existence from the conduct of the parties. That is, I am not expressly stating anything, but from the conduct of the parties, the contract is coming into existence. It is known as option B, implied contract is the correct answer. So option B. The last question is the contract where obligation is yet to be fulfilled. Yet to be fulfilled. That is, it is pending by either of the parties. It is known as executory contract because अभी करना बाकी है. As a result of which correct answer will be option C, executory contract. With this, friends, I hope you are totally clear with each and every types of contract what we have studied in our lectures. From the next lecture, we are going to commence with the new topics. So I hope to see you all with fresh energy in my upcoming sessions. Thank you, friends.